Have you been caught talking to yourself and felt embarrassed about it? That moment when someone walks in on you having a full conversation with no one else in the room. What if I told you that this habit, the one many people hide or feel ashamed of, could actually add 7 years to your life after age 60? It sounds unbelievable, but groundbreaking research has confirmed it. Seniors who regularly talk to themselves live significantly longer, healthier lives than those who don't. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to reveal exactly how this simple daily habit can transform your brain health, strengthen your heart, and potentially add nearly a decade to your life expectancy. Let me tell you about Arthur, a 78-year-old retired accountant from Ohio. After his wife Dorothy passed away, he lived alone in the home they had shared for decades. One afternoon, his daughter Patricia stopped by unexpectedly and caught him in the kitchen, animatedly discussing his lunch plans with himself. Arthur felt mortified. "Dad, were you just talking to yourself?" she asked. Embarrassed, he mumbled something about missing conversation. But during his next checkup, Arthur's doctor surprised him with news that would change everything. Not only was his habit completely normal, but brain scans showed Arthur had the neural activity of someone a decade younger. His doctor attributed this directly to Arthur's daily self-conversations. Now, at 85, Arthur outperforms friends 10 years his junior in memory tests and hasn't needed any medications for cognitive issues that plague many of his peers. The habit he once hid has become his secret weapon for longevity. Number 1. The brain-preserving power of self-talk. Did you know that talking to yourself physically reshapes your brain, creating new neural connections that fight against age-related decline? This isn't just a theory, it's proven science that most seniors never hear about. Neurologists at the University of Michigan's Cognitive Aging Center have discovered that self-talk activates multiple regions of your brain simultaneously, creating what they call cross-hemispheric engagement. According to Dr. Rebecca Thornton, lead researcher on their landmark study, when older adults verbalize their thoughts, they're essentially giving their brains a comprehensive workout. Our research shows this leads to increased gray matter volume and new neural connections, exactly what's needed to combat cognitive decline. Take Eleanor, a 73-year-old former librarian from Vermont. At 70, she began experiencing alarming memory lapses, forgetting appointments, losing her train of thought mid-sentence, and struggling to recall familiar words. Her doctor noticed early signs of cognitive decline and suggested medication. But Eleanor's daughter had read about self-talk research and suggested she try it first. Eleanor began narrating her daily activities out loud. "I'm putting my keys on the hook so I don't forget them," or "I need to call Susan at 2 p.m. about our lunch plans." Within 3 months, her follow-up cognitive tests showed remarkable improvement. Her doctor was stunned. "Whatever you're doing," he told her, "keep it up. Your brain scans look like they've reversed course. Here's what you need to do starting tomorrow morning. Begin your day with the morning activation protocol. As soon as you wake up, speak out loud about 3 things: what day it is, your main goals for the day, and one thing you're looking forward to. Don't just think these things, actually say them aloud. This simple 30-second habit activates your temporal lobe, frontal cortex, and language centers all at once, essentially turning on key regions of your brain that control memory and executive function. Are you willing to try this 30-second practice to strengthen neural connections that could be disappearing right now without you realizing it? Number 2, stress reduction and heart health connection. When was the last time you felt your heart racing during a stressful moment? That dangerous physical reaction could be silently damaging your cardiovascular system, but self-talk offers a powerful solution few doctors discuss with their patients. Cardiologists at the Cleveland Clinic's Heart Center have found that vocalizing thoughts during stressful situations reduces cortisol, the stress hormone, by up to 43% compared to silently worrying. Dr. Jonathan Morris, who specializes in geriatric cardiology, explains, when seniors verbalize their concerns instead of internalizing them, we see immediate physiological changes: decreased blood pressure, lower heart rate, and reduced strain on the cardiovascular system. For someone over 65, this stress reduction effect alone could significantly reduce their risk of heart attack and stroke. Consider Richard, a 71-year-old retired police officer from Texas who had struggled with dangerously high blood pressure for years. Despite taking 3 different medications, his readings remained stubbornly elevated. His cardiologist was considering more aggressive treatment when Richard learned about guided self-talk. Skeptical but desperate, he began talking himself through stressful situations, saying things like, "This traffic isn't worth getting upset about," or "I can handle this challenge step by step." When faced with frustrations, he'd verbalize a calming response instead of silently fuming. Within just 6 weeks, his blood pressure readings had improved so significantly that his doctor reduced one of his medications. "I've never seen such dramatic improvement without intervention," his cardiologist admitted. "Whatever you're doing, keep it up. Here's how you can implement the pressure release technique immediately. The next time you feel stressed, whether it's from reading unsettling news, dealing with a billing error, or facing family tension, speak your thoughts out loud in a calm, measured voice. Say exactly what's bothering you, why it matters, and at least one action you can take. For example, "This unexpected bill is stressing me out because I wasn't budgeting for it. I'm going to call the company and ask about payment options." This technique stops the internal spiral of worry that creates dangerous spikes in blood pressure and heart rate. Are you going to let silent stress continue damaging your heart, or will you try this simple technique the very next time you feel your tension rising? Number 3. Enhanced emotional processing and depression prevention. Have you noticed how emotions seem to get stuck inside as you age? That persistent sadness, worry, or irritability that's harder to shake off than when you were younger. There's a scientific reason for this, and a solution that most mental health professionals never mention to their older patients. Research from the National Institute of Mental Health shows that self-talk activates the brain's emotional regulation centers in ways that silent thinking simply cannot. Dr. Sophia Chen, who studies late-life depression, explains, "As we age, the connection between our emotional processing centers and linguistic regions becomes critical for mental health. When seniors verbalize their feelings rather than just thinking about them, they activate a neural pathway that processes and releases emotional burden more effectively. This is why we see significantly lower rates of depression in older adults who regularly talk to themselves. Take Sylvia, a 67-year-old widow from Illinois. After losing her husband of 45 years, she fell into a deep depression that wasn't responding to traditional therapy. She felt trapped in an endless loop of grief and isolation. Then her counselor suggested something unconventional: structured self-talk sessions. Each morning and evening, Sylvia would spend 5 minutes expressing her feelings out loud, her sadness, her memories, and eventually her hopes for finding joy again. "It felt strange at first," she admitted, "but something about hearing my own voice made the emotions feel less overwhelming." Within weeks, she noticed a shift. The heaviness began to lift, her thoughts became less circular and more forward-moving. 6 months later, she had reduced her antidepressant medication and was volunteering at a local community center. "Talking to myself," she says, "helped me process what silent thinking never could." Start using the emotional dialogue method today. When you feel emotionally stuck, whether it's sadness, worry, or even just a vague sense of unease, find a private space and speak your feelings out loud using this simple formula. "I'm feeling," name the emotion, about situation, And that's okay. What I need right now is comfort, solution, perspective. Hearing your own voice name and address your emotions creates immediate distance and perspective that silent thinking cannot achieve. This technique takes just 60 seconds, but can shift your emotional state almost immediately. Why let difficult feelings linger in your mind, where they can trigger depression when you could process them effectively with this simple technique? Number 4. Memory preservation and cognitive function. Are you finding it increasingly difficult to remember names, appointments, or where you put everyday items? This common and frustrating experience has a surprisingly simple solution that most memory specialists aren't sharing with their patients. Research from Harvard's Aging Brain Initiative has found that verbal reinforcement, literally talking to yourself about what you need to remember, strengthens memory pathways in ways that silent memorization cannot. Dr. Kenneth Reynolds, who specializes in memory preservation in older adults, explains, when seniors verbalize information they need to remember, they're engaging multiple sensory pathways simultaneously: auditory, speech motor, and language processing. This multi-pathway engagement creates redundant memory storage, essentially giving your brain multiple ways to retrieve the same information later. Consider James, a 76-year-old retired professor from Connecticut who had begun worrying about his memory. Despite being intellectually active, he found himself forgetting important details from recent conversations and struggling to recall colleagues' names. Rather than accepting this as inevitable aging, he began using verbal memory reinforcement. Whenever he learned new information or needed to remember something important, he would say it out loud several times. Wednesday at 2 p.m. dentist appointment on Main Street, he would repeat while looking at his calendar. He started describing objects aloud as he set them down. I'm putting my glasses on the coffee table. Within a month, his recall had improved dramatically. His wife noticed first. You haven't asked me where something is in weeks, she remarked. 6 months later, James was functioning at a cognitive level that impressed even his doctor. Implement the verbal memory lock method today. Whenever you need to remember something, whether it's where you've placed an item, an appointment time, or a person's name, say it out loud 3 times. For example, I'm putting my keys in the kitchen drawer. Keys in the kitchen drawer. Keys in the kitchen drawer. This technique takes mere seconds, but creates multiple neural pathways to that memory, making it significantly easier to retrieve later. Why continue struggling with forgetting important information when this simple habit could immediately strengthen your memory today? Number 5. Improved decision-making and reduced cognitive errors. Have you ever made a decision you later regretted because you didn't think it through clearly? As we age, making sound judgments becomes both more important and sometimes more challenging. But there's a simple technique that dramatically improves decision quality. Research from Princeton's Decision Science Department shows that verbally processing options leads to 37% better decisions among adults over 65. Dr. Elizabeth Wells, who studies decision-making across the lifespan, explains, silent thinking tends to be circular and easily influenced by emotional biases, especially as we age. When older adults verbalize their decision process, literally talking through their options out loud, they engage analytical brain regions that counterbalance emotional reactivity. This leads to significantly clearer thinking and better choices. Take Marilyn, a 70-year-old retired nurse from Florida. After her husband's passing, she found herself solely responsible for financial decisions for the first time. When an investment opportunity arrived by mail promising exceptional returns, she was tempted. Instead of just thinking it over silently, she remembered reading about verbal decision-making. Sitting at her kitchen table, She began talking through the proposition out loud. This investment promises 12% returns, which seems unusually high. They're pressuring me to decide quickly, which doesn't give me time to research properly. No reputable investment requires rushing. Just hearing herself say these things triggered her professional skepticism. She decided to consult a financial advisor who confirmed it was indeed a scam that had already trapped several seniors in her community. Her simple habit of talking through decisions had protected her life savings. Start using the decision verbalization protocol immediately. The next time you face any decision, whether it's a purchase, a medical treatment option, or even which activity to prioritize in your day, find a private space and talk through your options out loud. Say, I'm considering option because benefit, but I'm concerned about potential drawback. Simply hearing your own reasoning vocalized will immediately highlight flaws in thinking that silent contemplation often misses. This takes just minutes, but could save you from costly or harmful decisions. Isn't preventing even one poor choice worth trying this simple technique today? Number 6. The social connection substitute effect. Do you sometimes go days without meaningful conversation? This common situation for many seniors isn't just lonely. It could be silently damaging your brain and shortening your life. But researchers have discovered a surprising substitute that can help. Loneliness specialists at UCLA's Social Neuroscience Laboratory have found that self-talk triggers many of the same beneficial brain responses as actual conversation. Dr. Robert Thompson explains, when seniors engage in self-talk, their brains often process it similarly to social interaction. Our scans show activation in many of the same neural regions that light up during conversation. While it's not a complete replacement for human connection, regular self-talk can provide many of the cognitive benefits of social engagement when interaction opportunities are limited. William, an 81-year-old retired engineer from Oregon, lived alone in a rural area where winter weather often kept him isolated for days. He noticed his thinking becoming foggy during these periods of isolation and worried about the cognitive decline he'd seen in other seniors who lived alone. After learning about self-talk, he developed a routine of morning meetings with himself. Each day he'd sit at his kitchen table and have a full conversation out loud, discussing current events, sharing memories, or talking through projects he was working on. I felt silly at first, he admits, but after a few weeks I noticed I was thinking more clearly even during long stretches without visitors. And when his doctor performed his annual cognitive assessment, he scored higher than the previous year, a rarity for someone his age. Whatever you're doing, his doctor told him, it's working exceptionally well. Begin using the inner dialogue framework today, especially if you live alone or go days without substantial conversation. Set aside 5 or 10 minutes each morning to engage in a structured self-conversation. Discuss your plans for the day, current events, memories, or ideas you're considering. Ask yourself questions and answer them thoughtfully, just as you would in conversation with a friend. This practice provides critical linguistic and cognitive stimulation that your brain requires for optimal function. Why let isolation silently damage your brain when this simple daily practice could provide much-needed neural stimulation? The science is clear. Talking to yourself isn't strange. It's one of the smartest things you can do for your health and longevity after 60. From building new neural connections and reducing heart-damaging stress to enhancing emotional processing and sharpening decision-making, this simple habit could add 7 precious years to your life. Each of the techniques we've covered, the morning activation protocol, the pressure release technique, the emotional dialogue method, the verbal memory lock, the decision verbalization protocol, and the inner dialogue framework, takes just minutes to implement, but offers profound benefits for your brain health and longevity. The question isn't whether you should start talking to yourself, it's whether you can afford not to start today. If you found this information valuable, hit the like button right now and subscribe to receive more life-changing health insights. In the comments below, share which of these self-talk techniques you plan to try first, or whether you've already noticed benefits from talking to yourself. Your experience could help other viewers discover this powerful health habit that too many seniors are missing out on.